Y'all know what it is, it's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pie. Cash App, $ usual 50-50. Tickets on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshit on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Y'all know what it is, it's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has a missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping $ usual 50-50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20 with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
just grooming products for you, just so natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be your swagger, your style, class, and luxury. We make our products tailor-made for you with high quality, yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Grooming company, to give you swagger, style, class, and luxury, yeah. The black gentleman, yeah. Company, to give you swagger, style, class, and luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Yo. What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to the Tuesday Tussle for this Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. We're calling this episode Measuring One Against Another. Simply put, what that means is that we're going to talk about the fact that in this modern time and place of boxing, fanfare and what's obvious amongst the fighters that are contending, if not reigning as title holders, we're not seeing enough of the competitive nature of the fighters to determine who and what is best to lead the sport going forward. So when we talk about measuring one against another, we're talking about the merits and accomplishments of one against a perceived notion of another. You see, the perceived notion can speak of popularity, who gets that attention, but they may not even be fighting. A lot of the guys today, they fight once, maybe twice a year when they're considered at the top of the class. That's not necessarily saying that they're the best, but that's the top of everything that is rated as far as box office draw, television appearances, sometimes a title defense, but not really rooted in that true sense of getting their fingers dirty, digging for it. We've had guys now that have had careers without really proving that they are the goods, they have what it really truly takes, that they have the spirit of competitiveness enough to persevere even when they've had setbacks, to be able to come back and right wrongs, to make adjustments. So many guys have not shown us these things, and some of them are now coming into the end of their careers. One fighter that comes to mind when I think and say these things, I think about Anthony Joshua, a man who at one time had great potential going forward in the heavyweight division. When he had his crossroads match against Dillian White, it was an opportunity for them to settle old scores from the amateurs, and Joshua prevailed, stopping White inside the distance, and he would go on to challenge Prince Charles Martin for what I believe at that time was Martin's IBF title. And then he had an opportunity to go in against Vladimir Klitschko, former heavyweight champion of the world, unified heavyweight champion of the world, who had lost his titles to Tyson Fury in a decision. Joshua at that time was on an upward trajectory. And of course, the UK, all you have to show is a little bit of promise, and they'll jump on the bandwagon and throw all their support and loyalties behind you, even to the degree that we have witnessed them trying to be protective of Joshua. Oh, he don't need to fight that guy. Oh, he shouldn't fight him. And it's like, wow, it's like he needs to fight this guy. He needs to fight that guy so he can not only secure his place and his development, but to be able to ascend to new heights and levels. And he became stagnated, holding on to those titles, which was really something that Hearn wanted to do, control the heavyweight division by holding titles. Remember, this was before Frank Warren had all these heavyweights in his graces that he presently has, because Warren has signed on a number of heavyweights now in his stable of promotion, and plenty of people to rival whatever was happening on the Matchroom side with what AJ was doing. But AJ began to show himself to be fragile, and we witnessed him do away with trainer, I think it was Joe Gallagher, who had done a great job with him, whether it was over the proceeds of economics or something personal behind the scenes. I don't have that information, and I really don't care about that at this time. However, his progression began to slow to a halt. Soon he would lose to Andy Ruiz Jr. in his MSG debut. And ironically, the rival, which he created the rivalry, talking about Wilder, the rivalry never really got a chance to get going with them facing one another. But after dropping his loss to Ruiz in a post-fight comment, which was really weird and out of left field, AJ says, "I wish it was Wilder." You had the opportunity for Wilder. What are you talking about? But this is what I'm saying. Measuring one against another. That would have been great that he measured himself against Deontay Wilder and vice versa. Because at that time, do you realize that was almost a decade ago? At that time, these two men were the prominent heavyweights. And between the two of them, one of them could have become undisputed. But the powers that be didn't want that to take place. Wow. It just goes to show you that you can mess around putting off till tomorrow of what you can do today, and tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow never comes. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're talking about this evening. Let's take a quick look into the chat. Just a little peek to see who we got in the building this evening. Universal Truth is out there again, as usual, leading the charge, saying, "Salute, Sensei, what's good with you?" Mr. Shelton, LDBC or Nothing Reloaded is in the building. Chilltown Majors is back with us saying, "Sensei salute," and chat salute. Shawalaya is in the building. What's happening, Shawa? Good to see you out there this evening. Hope you're doing well. PGH Big Dog in the building. What's happening with you? Saying salute, Sensei. Yeah. Mr. Sheldon. Wilder. All those UK guys, that's how they say his name. Wilder. They don't even pronounce the L. Wilder. Like they're saying wow, man. But we're so far beyond that, it was like, ooh. And then a few years later, when it came around again that they could fight each other, AJ found a way to moonwalk out of that. Not testing himself, not measuring one against the other. Wilder was willing to take on any comers, man. It's just very unfortunate. Attaching himself to the Fury train, didn't know that it would come with such gypsy manifestations, huh? We didn't know that. But now we know. And it turned out to be something very unsavory, not only for the sport, but for Wilder in particular. And I even to this day, I have issues getting beyond that situation. But it's not just the heavyweights that we talk about with this particular subject. Because coming up this fall, we've got something that is going to put people in a place where they're going to have to once again look at what the landscape of the sport is, popularity, the respect of one being noted as a legendary fighter. Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford are going to face each other. And that's a fight that a lot of people have great anticipation, but also alluring, support behind who they love or who they despise and who they just want to see lose. All of those factors coming in. These two men could be considered the best of the sport and what the sport has to offer, with not only their accomplishments but their abilities. Crawford with the abilities more than Canelo, because I always felt that Canelo was limited when it came to abilities, and a career that was well managed, and he was well matched, because there were fighters I always wanted to see him fight that he didn't face, and there were fighters that he caught at the right time. And it's just like he looked better for the wear. But one of the fighters he tried to do that to, and it didn't work out for him, was Floyd Mayweather, right? Thinking that Floyd was 36, 37 years of age at that time, which is what Crawford is today, He thought that he would get in there and take the old man. But he underestimated Floyd being one of the most intelligent fighters in modern day boxing, and knew how to kind of present himself a certain type of way, but be prepared in a different type of way. Canelo didn't win a round against Floyd. And so after that, he made certain to not fight fighters of Floyd's ilk. That type of talent, that type of ability, that type of approach to the sport, where their skill set could wash you, take you out of the game totally. So what makes Canelo think a decade later that he has graduated beyond that learning experience with Floyd, and he's going against a fighter that has what Floyd had, is now the same age that Floyd was then, but has a different temperament than Floyd altogether. And in the meantime, Canelo's wheels have gone flat. His legs, his knees. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. But this is what we have to look forward to this September. A very interesting paradigm. Very interesting. Yeah. So, measuring one against another, this fight and profile is right up there with what we're talking about. Because either of these men win this fight, and they can get a great deal of consideration as toward being the fighter of their generation. Though I don't like how Canelo has moved and acquired the titles under questionable situations, because when he became undisputed, he didn't become undisputed by taking the titles off of other champions. He actually was picking up vacant titles and fighting other lesser fighters for those titles. And the most important fighter that he should have faced, who had a title that was stripped from him, was David Benavidez. David Benavidez at 168 pounds fought about 4, if I'm not mistaken, it could be more, title eliminators to put himself in position to challenge for the title that was stripped from him. And Canelo never looked his way to this day. But a perfect fight to measure yourself against another. Even if he had elected to go after the youthful David Morrell, or the aggressor in Christian Mbili, these are all fighters at that weight who could have provided a formidable challenge for Canelo. When you think about the likes of John Ryder and Jaime Munguia and Edgar Berlanga, no, those men did not deserve to be in the ring with him. I would have rather seen him give Sergey Deverenchenko a shot rather than those guys. But guess what? Deverenchenko is the type of fighter that could outpoint him. Yeah, Sergey has put up some great fights. Ask Christian Mbili. Ask Jamal Charlo, excuse me. But when we say these things, there's plenty of history behind it to align to say, hey, you know what? This is why I just can't give it to a guy. There's not enough. So, to see these guys do the things that they need to do, we need to see them facing their opposition, their colleagues, their contemporaries. Do you realize that we have so many unproven fighters because they have an escape route with the, not only to mention the multiple sanctioning bodies and the titles that can be had, but this thing that fighters are doing to the guilds now about vacating a title to move up in weight. And there's a few fighters who have tried to win titles at multiple weight divisions. I called it, years ago, I would term it fighting at artificial weights, because just because you can shrink yourself down to make a weight doesn't mean that's your weight division. I remember the young, youthful Oscar De La Hoya, who had gone down to, I guess it was 130 pounds to take on, was it Gabe Ruelas? No, it was, Gabe Ruelas. Rafael Ruelas. I get them mixed up, the Ruelas brothers. But Oscar went down to that weight, and Ruelas at that weight was really lanky and skinny, and Oscar knocked him out with a big left hook. And though he didn't look like a full-fledged lightweight, he looked so much stronger when he rehydrated on fight night and got in the ring with Ruelas. There was another fight. Hold on a second, because I gotta pull this up. Just bear with me one moment, because I'm making a great point here about Oscar. Now, I did not realize this. Salute to my brother Drew Titan out there listening in. Hey Drew, do me a favor when you have a moment, if you're still out there. First of all, are you still out there, Drew? If you're out there, please write something in the chat to let me know you're out there, because I just found something out. Okay, Drew, take a moment and look up on BoxRec, look at Oscar De La Hoya's record. And then we could have a conversation about that later. Now, this is where I was going with Oscar, you guys. Oscar fought Jimmy Breedall. That's the fight. I was thinking about Ruelas, but Ruelas came a little bit later. But Jimmy Breedall was when he won his first world title, super featherweight WBO title. 130 pounds. There's no way that Oscar was a super featherweight, but he made the weight and he won that title. He defended it once against Giorgio Campanella and then moved up. The Breedall fight was in March. By July, he was fighting Jorge Paez at lightweight. Now, some may ask, well, what were you trying to get to here with Stormy talking about that? When you're able to fight in multiple weight divisions without taking on the toughest opposition there. Remember, there's plenty of sanctioning body titles, right? So you can win a title off of a lesser fighter and it looks like a greater accomplishment because you're sweeping through the divisions, beating guys for titles. But there are guys who are ham and eggers, that they used to call them. Ham and eggers are guys who would come in and with their hard hat and lunch pail and work boots and go to work, and they work hard for whatever they get. Some find themselves with a world title opportunity. Some find themselves as a world title winner. But for these guys who can just vacate titles and move up throughout the divisions and not face the top men in the division, I'm sorry, but just because you were able to do that without beating the best, I can't look at you as a more accomplished fighter. Canelo Alvarez. And then handicapping fighters, getting them to agree to terms in the contract, rehydration clause. You can't bring certain fighter trainers into the camp for training. The ring has got to be yay big. It's got to be these type of gloves. You know, all of these type of stipulations. You see, leads to disadvantages for some and overt advantages for others, that it's like the common person doesn't see these things unless you're following the sport like we do. And then we come on air and we talk about it and we present certain circumstances and have discussions, and you guys are saying, whoa, I didn't know that. Wow, is that true? Yeah. So in doing that, you can become a 7-weight division champion, Manny Pacquiao. See, we're doing these things, giving accolades to guys who haven't really deserved. For example, Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, you know his name is hot on the lips presently because of what's going on with, you know, he vacated his title and moved up to 154. But he talked about just months earlier unifying to become undisputed. But then a couple of young fighters come up to the division from junior welterweight and lightweight. And so now he wants to leave. It's just getting interesting. Why are you going away? When the fighters that you've been defeating have been guys you pulled up from the lighter divisions to begin with. Ooh, did Stormy really say that? You bet your butt I did, huh? Yeah. I have to say these things because they're true. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. You see, if the sandal fit, put it on, J-Ron, huh? Because I'm telling you guys, if you really looked at it for what it was, you would see that, okay, yeah, he's had some advantages. Measuring one against another. You see? Brian Norman Jr. Finally, someone has stepped out from the shadows into some spotlight. There's an instant dance partner. Why not face him? Oh, I've outgrown the weight all of a sudden. What, in a month or two? The last one I saw outgrow a weight division like that was, what was his name? Billy Joe Saunders. He went from fighting Canelo to a couple months later, Macy's department store Santa Claus. Yeah. Man, you can't make this stuff up. People can get angry, man. But it's true. You know? It's true. To see the guys get in the ring and face one another in their primes, when there are high stakes, something to shoot for, that's the optimum time. All that talking, let it marinate and build. Listen, this is not meat on the grill. There have been opportunities ruined by that philosophy. Abdullah Mason is about to fight for a world title. I think he's 21, yet to be 22 years old. And he's such a good young fighter. They're so busy talking about other guys. But this man he's a young man. He's a blue chipper. You know how the recruiters used to sit in the stands and watch the talent and say, wow, you know, this kid, if we can get him signed for our university, get him a scholarship with our school, you know, we'll be competing in the NCAA every year for 4 years. Blue chipper. That's Abdullah Mason. This past weekend in Top Rank Boxing on ESPN's last show of boxing, Emiliano Vargas fought on there. And they talked about this kid like he was a blue chipper. That's a hype job. I'm not saying he can't fight. I'm not saying he's not a good young fighter. But they hyped him. They put everything behind that kid to make it a positive boost in their last episode. But you got to be able to see between the lines. And though his dad, Fernando Vargas, was a good fighter, I would never call him great, but he was a good fighter. That family name and ethic can be sold. I only hope that he can develop to a point where he is a blue chip fighter. But he's already made one move out of a division where there was competition. If you really want to prove your wares. But if you want to kiss babies, sell t-shirts and tickets, then you move the way they're moving them. Measuring one against another. I'm telling you, man, a lot of people don't think about things. They don't see the whole picture. I was talking to some brothers in the community just last week. I was like, you got to see down the road. You can't just look at what's in front. You can see, oh, there's a bump up ahead. But down the road, there's a hole that you can fall into. And the way the hole is made is hidden. You see road, but the road is over the hole. And if you go out further enough, you can't see the hole when it opens up and you go right in. So, to put together matches where the fighters can come together and show their wares, and we can figure out after witnessing the bout who's the better guy. In order to do that, you have to have willing participants. Everybody's not willing to do that. You have a few fighters that you can probably count on a hand with an extra additional finger or two, but not very many. Canelo taking this fight against Crawford is an ego situation for him. He's allowed himself to think, I can't let this little guy defeat me. But he's in there with a man with a different temperament, and I've said this many occasions. That temperament is something that Canelo has never faced before. I believe if we got more of these type of fights where fighters could measure against one another, what would happen is it would force everyone else around the sport to work harder at their craft. That's what I believe. To work hard at their craft. It's important to be able to do that. There are a number of fighters who are they're just going through the paces in the gym. They'll use that phrase, hard work and dedication, but they're not doing it. They're not exhibiting it. They're not implementing it. The Brian Norman Jr. fight with Devin Haney. Two young men, young enough that a fight right now can make a difference in their careers. With a victory, it can propel the winner to the next level. With a defeat, it could tell the person who didn't win that they've got more work to do, but you still belong where you are. We need to see more, man. We need to see more. Fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis, I think he's off the chessboard now. That piece is off the board. You have to start looking at what's there. AJ is off the board. Bivol and Better Be are going to be off the board. We've got to get a better system. We need to see the guys at their best, doing what they do best. Yeah. Quan Big Guns, he's pound for pound now. It's never been a question. And no one's come close to taking it away from him. And other fighters that they tried to consider even mentioning their names, they could be pound for pound fighters, but they're not pound for pound number one. Naoya Inoue, no, he's not above Bud Crawford by no means. And Shitty Cuz is not up there either. When Andre Ward was around fighting, he was good enough to be rivaling Bud with that Ward. But to just give it to someone like a Chocolatito or a Canelo, that boggles the mind. Joe Gagliari, what's happening, bro? Coach Hudson, what's good with you? You see, when fighters run to the opportunity to prove themselves, oftentimes they find themselves being successful without much effort because it's others who are intimidated by the opportunity. They become apprehensive, slow of foot, not ready to seize the moment. Don't want to take a risk. But if you don't do those things and apply yourself in that way, you cannot be considered beyond a certain level. Which is why I don't understand when Canelo was sitting up there at that press dais talking about who has Bud fought. Bud has come up through several divisions lower than Canelo, but who has Canelo fought? He's gone through the divisions too. But he's also won against a lot of guys that were chosen instead of guys that people the paying public wanted to see him fight. And even his ethnic warriors have spoke about it. They talked about he's not like Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. He's not like him. He's not like Salvador Sanchez. And you cannot give it to him by popularity. What's going to happen to him in this fight if he loses to Bud? Will people call him a fraud? Will they say he was never that good? Or will they just say Bud got lucky? You know, there's a lot of stuff attached to this. A lot. J-Man, you may be very well right there, brother. You may be very well right. Because that guy, the little guy, I call him, he was a whirlwind of activity. I'm feeling tired, people. I got up early this morning to start my day, man. It's like, oh my goodness. I need some vitamins. Take a daily vitamin. Yeah. But we get those answers when we could get these top fighters to start looking at one another. The fame is already there. The fanfare can be influenced by great opportunities for photo ops and viral moments. Well, yeah. But I try to present this stuff. It's like, again, some people may have thought I had a different type of way to go with that, but I wouldn't be Stormy B Man if I didn't put my personal stamp and appeal on this conversation. Yeah. I guess we can take a moment out and hear from our brother, the Focus Ball. How about that? Focus Ball has been great. It's time to hear from him.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah, so we come to the end of another tussle, man. That hour goes by very fast, right? Goes by very fast. But just came out to have this little small conversation because conversations rule the nation. And to be able to discuss boxing with an elevated sense is always a good thing. We can also get down and dirty in the mud, huh? But it's always good to stay elevated. Very important. That is an important word. Should always be attributed to one that is about their business, being elevated. So I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your week ahead. I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody. Yeah.
If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, you know, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him, so he never got off
You
the
think he's on
steroids.
steroids?
Of course. Of course.
Sure.
How does five
You saw De La Hoya call him out.
how do five people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids?
Right.
You know what I mean? No, all those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.